Call the meeting to order. 1A, consideration and possible action to declare emergency circumstances and findings, Government Code 54953E1. Can I get a motion to approve? Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 2, so before we approve the agenda, I want to move 12B and C to item 6. They are presentations, and they're quick presentations, and we don't want them to have to wait till the end of the meeting. So can I get a motion to approve?
I'm sorry, Joe, which two?
12B and 12C.
And we're moving it to 6?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve, to move those items.
Can I get a second?
Sorry.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So can I get approval of the agenda as amended?
I'll make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And I don't see any public comment, so we're going to convene to close session. We're going to reconvene to open session for a report of action taken in closed session. We're going to vote on number one, case number 2122-11-SD. It's a roll call vote. Oh, can I get a motion? No. Can I get a motion for 4A1 for roll call vote?
I'll make a motion to approve 4A.
Can I get a second?
Sorry.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I was just approving for the vote. I don't know. Sorry. Okay, roll call vote.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Chimino?
Yes.
Trustee Gillis?
Yes.
Trustee Nelson?
Aye.
Trustee Wing?
Yes.
4B, a flag salute. We have two UELF students, Hunter and Ulisa. Ulisa.
'Justice for all.
All right, guys. Hunter, here's a certificate of appreciation and a pen. Thank you. And Lisa, here is a certificate and a pen. Thank you very much. 5A Student Board Members Report. We'll start with Caitlin.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. So first, I would like to talk about how Rancho hosted our Every 15 Minutes. So this is a production that our Rancho staff and the Roanoke Park Police Department puts on every 4 years, so every student can experience it once during their high school career. And it's basically a sort of program that talks about teen distracted and drunk driving. So this really gives a perspective to our students on this issue and how it can be a real thing. A lot of students have experienced some sort of situation with distracted driving. We had presentations on Thursday and Friday. So on Thursday we had a car crash scene put in our stadium, and it showed how the police comes and the ambulance, and it showed the reality of how bad of a situation this could be. And on Friday we had a funeral in the tag gym. We did have therapy dogs and support resources on campus for the students who needed it, as it can be a touchy subject. Prom is this Saturday on April 23rd. Our students are very excited. The theme is Midnight Garden, and it will be hosted at the Santa Rosa Golf Course. Because it is prom this Saturday, we do have our Prom Spirit Week. So Monday was Adam Sandler Day, dressed like Adam Sandler with a big t-shirt and baggy shorts or sweats. Tuesday was Country versus Country Club, so the country being dressed like Western with cowboy boots and hats, and Country Club being more preppy, sort of golf outfits, things like that. Wednesday is just like your type, so dress like the person or people that you are interested in. Thursday is red carpet, so fancy, sort of like that. And Friday is our move-up colors for our move-up rally. So green, for freshmen, they were green. That's their color right now, so they will wear all pink. Sophomores will go pink to blue. Juniors from blue to red, and seniors from red to gold. And like I mentioned, it is our Move Up Rally on Friday, and this will have our senior slideshow with all pictures throughout the years of our seniors to sort of give them that representation. Last Friday, our teachers put on an egg hunt for all of the students, and these eggs, there was over 1,000 eggs scattered throughout the school. There was prizes such as gift cards, candy, and even a free prom ticket as just sort of an Easter present, or it was a spring egg hunt, but sort of like a present to all of the students. We had our athlete gifts handed out on Monday, and this included candy bars and notes for all of our winter student athletes. Next Friday, we also have our West Side Story production with our Rancho leads, and we are very excited. There's been lots of tickets sold. We just ended our canned food drive today, and this is our second canned food drive of the year. And since it was ended today, we do not have a total quite yet of how many pounds we ended up getting, but I will have that for next month. We also hosted our next year's executive board elections for ASB. So this is an event that we have every year, and it gives us, our students, a chance to experience sort of that election and voting for who is going to represent their school. So our president that was elected was Melanie Maldonado Plasencia. Our vice president is Caitlin Antonetti. Secretary Alexis Sampson. Treasurer is Natalie Perez. And school board rep for next year is David Zapeta. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me. Since my last report, we had spring break that led us into the fourth and final quarter of our school year. Students said they felt more relaxed and refreshed after having the break. However, for seniors, it has been a stressful yet rewarding time as they now are responsible for deciding their after high school plans. On April 1st, we had our spring rally, which also happened to be our first indoor rally since 2019. We had games and activities, including a performance from our THS band. The spring rally was also our first introduction into the week of the election convention, as we heard speeches from the students running for our cabinet positions in ASB, which is our president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, public relations officer, and spirit commissioner. Their speeches served to introduce their candidacy to the student body. The following Monday, April 4th, delegates participated in the election convention. The delegates that were going to participate in the election convention were chosen in the freshman, essential, and history classes. Each class nominated 3 to 5 delegates, and this number was based on the population size. In total, we had 39 delegates from the whole school nominated 9th through 11th grade. On Tuesday, April 5th, all of the candidates running for office had informational booths with posters set up at lunch. They were able to give out popcorn, different things to just kind of introduce what they're running for in their position. In addition, many had posters up around the campus so that students and delegates could get an initial idea of what they would bring to THS if they got elected. On Wednesday, April 6th, the popular vote took place during Ask, and each tech student, 9th through 11th grade, cast their ballots in a voting precinct. If during the popular vote a candidate did not win 60% of the votes, then the predetermined delegates would be responsible for representing their classmates at the election convention. The election convention took place on Friday, April 8th in the MU, with the 39 delegates separated among color-coded tables. The members running for office were tasked with answering questions from the audience, such as, what are your future plans for THS, and specific questions about how they are most qualified for the position that they are running for. After various activities, delegates were responsible for voting once more for the candidates they believe fit the position best, with the interests of their respective classes in mind. Overall, the convention was a success, and although I wasn't able to fully participate, being that I'm a senior, I was able to observe all the fun and enjoyment that was a result of this event and that we hope to become a tradition. Delegates were surveyed after the convention, and they really enjoyed getting to know the candidates better, but wished that they had even more time to interact. They also enjoyed the activities and team building that took place during the convention. Almost all students said they would be interested in participating in the election convention, again, if they had the opportunity to next year. With this overview, I'd now like to introduce our cabinet-elect for the 2022-2023 school year. For president, we have Amelia Kimmer. Our vice president will be Garrett Aker. Our treasurer, Giovanni Ledoux. Our secretary, Courtney Croyer. Public relations officer, Naomi Collis Hernandez. And our spirit commissioner, Ella Aker. Along with our cabinet-elect, we also have 3 representatives from each grade level serving on our executive board for the upcoming school year. Last Friday, April 15th, was the opening night for the production of West Side Story, which featured Tech High leads. They also had 2 shows on Saturday the 16th, and after a long 2 years, we were also proud of the drama students who put time and effort into making this show happen. Friday night's show was sold out, which I hope represents the anticipation and excitement not only we as students, but the community as a whole had for this amazing production. Seniors are excited for the grad night trip to Disneyland, which is planned for Thursday, May 20th, and it is sort of a reward for the AP testing that occurs right before. Also, it is officially testing season as students are preparing for the SAT, ACT, and AP testing. There is also state testing going on right now. We have juniors taking English, math, and science, with the seniors only doing the science portion. For our future plans, we have an all-nighter scheduled for May 13th, hosted by our robotics program. And the all-nighter is a Tech High tradition where students stay overnight on the school campus to play video games or just hang out until the sun rises in the morning. Due to COVID, we were only able to have a half-nighter, which occurred in the beginning of the year. This will be our first all-nighter since 2019. And then lastly, graduation planning has started as our senior reps are prepping for the various events that the seniors partake in their final weeks of high school. That is all I have for this month's report. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Natalie. (5B), Ripsia report.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Superintendent Perez. Unfortunately, Denise could not be here tonight, so I'll provide you with a quick update. As you know, this past month was quite the roller coaster. Our members are happy to be back in their classrooms after the strike and spring break, and we are relieved to finally have a resolution to the 10-month struggle to secure a respectable wage increase for our members that reflects the increases to the cost of living in our county. However, we wonder why it took so long for our elected officials to act. When we finally sat down with Trustees Brown and Wing, we found our way to a resolution in 45 minutes. It is not lost on us that the thing we had been asking for 10 months, really 2 years, was the very thing that solved the impasse. We are left wondering why it was necessary to strike for 6 days to resolve this, to finally sit down together to find a solution that met all of our needs. We truly hope that learning comes from this experience and that you recognize the value of dialogue with teachers, whether they are part of union leadership or not. We question the advice that you have been given to not speak with union leadership and your interpretation that these are rules that cannot be broken. Since the strike, we have spoken with multiple districts who have board members regularly attending bargaining sessions, visiting schools, and talking with teachers. We hope that given this past experience, you will take this advice and do the same. We are still healing from the strike. We cannot ignore what we lost despite what we gained. But spring is about new beginnings and transformations. It is a time of promise. Last weekend, we saw the first theater performance since before COVID. Under the direction of Emily Walters and Sarah Gazakanian, Tech High and Rancho students opened West Side Story to a full house and hope to see the same next weekend. This Saturday, Rancho will have its first prom in 3 years. Students are filled with excitement and happiness that they will get to experience this special event. Ryan Caruta, former teacher from UELF and teacher on loan at SCO, has been coaching 2 Rancho Cotati teams and 1 Tech High team in the SCO Environmental Justice Coalition. These dynamic young women have received training and mentorship around environmental justice throughout the year. Each team created and implemented local action plans to address an environmental justice issue. They are currently preparing to present at the Environmental Justice Coalition Share Case on Thursday, April 28th at the Turk Round Barn from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., and we welcome all of you to attend. The same students on the Rancho environmental teams have also organized a trash fashion show to take place during our rally on Friday, Earth Day. It has been my pleasure and honor to work with these students and to watch their concern and action around the environment grow. Jessica Gillerin at UELF did a memorable project with her class this month to honor the Ukrainian people by making Pazanki egg designs. Her fifth graders are aware of the conflict in Ukraine and are sad about the struggles of the Ukrainian people. By making Pazanki egg designs and then decorating actual eggs, which students blew, they learn about this 2,000-year-old tradition to honor the sun god. She taught them one specific pattern to start, which is a traditional design, and they thought it was amazing that this was 2,000 years old. All of these things show signs of growth and renewal in our district, and our spirits are lifted by it. In closing, we hope to see this same progress moving forward with all of you, to find more productive ways to work with each other. We hope that those involved in district management will take the past into consideration, listen to parents, students, and staff, and develop creative solutions to the financial challenges to living and working in our community. In this, we see an opportunity to build a new foundation and a new way forward. Thank you.
For 5C, we have the CSEA report, and they weren't able to report. And for 5D, SEIU report, they weren't able to report either. But we have a spot for them, so if they get a chance, they can come and report as well. 5E, receipt of official correspondence. Number 1, letter from SCO, second interim qualified certification.
This is a, can you hear me? Yes, it's working. Anyway, this is a letter from Sonoma County Office of Education regarding our qualified budget, and that now we are charged to bring together our budget advisory committee. We've had one meeting where we're coming together to come up with a fiscal recovery plan to address our deficits.
Thank you, Dr. Perez.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
Or a comment.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we have gotten the word out, because we did not have very many people come. And there were a lot of people that had a lot of things to say about the budget, so I hope they come on the 26th and help us get through this, because we have to do some serious budgeting here. Thank you.
Number 6, presentations. We have the Citizens Oversight Committee with Sherry Lorenz.
Mr. Cutler, you're on deck.
Good evening, Superintendent Perez and trustees. My name is Sherry Lorenz, and I'm the current chair of the Citizens Oversight Committee, Bond Oversight Committee. In keeping with its bylaws, the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee met once during the calendar year of 2021 and twice during 2022. At its meetings, the following items were discussed and action taken as needed. It was election of chair and the clerk, review of bylaws and election documents, review of revenue projects and receipts, review of the district bond expenditures and projections, review of the audit report for the year ending June 30th, 2021, establishment of meeting dates, and approval of the meeting minutes. The committee can also report that all bond funds expended pursuant to Resolution 1516-34, Measure C, the 2016 bonds, has been spent on the projects listed on the attachments, and the district is in compliance with the requirements of Article 13A, Section 1B3 of the California Constitution. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cutler?
Right. I don't think I've talked in a while. Okay. My name's Joshua Cutler. Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm here to talk about the Parcel Tax Citizens Oversight Committee. I'm the vice chair. Karen couldn't make it, so I told her I would do this for her today. The Parcel Tax Citizens Oversight Committee met on April 12th, 2021. At the meeting, the following items were discussed and action was taken as needed. 1, review of the revenue projections and receipts. 2, review of the parcel tax budget and expenditures 2020 to 2021. 3, review the parcel tax expenditure plan 2021 to 2022. And 4, approval of meeting minutes. The committee can report that all parcel tax funds have been expended in accordance with the resolution 1112-12 and 1516-1. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Cutler.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.
Uh, 6A. The A2A, Margaret Hahn.
We're going to be celebrating some schools that have had some really great increases in terms of attendance. And so we're going to honoring them tonight.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rocky Schumann, Student Services Specialist for the district. And one of my accountabilities is attendance district-wide. And I'm here to introduce Lacey Collum, who is the intervention manager for Attention to Attendance, also known as A2A. And they support our district in attendance. And she's here to give some awards. So without further ado.
Thank you, Rocky, board and cabinet members, Dr. Perez, and of course the community for having me here to present these top performance awards tonight. It has been my pleasure to partner with the district leadership and staff members here as we focus on attendance. The reason this focus is so important is because research shows that student achievement is inextricably linked to attendance. In our partnership together with the Achievement Initiative, we have challenged ourselves to continue the thriving attendance culture here at Cotati Roaner Park USD, because we believe that creating a culture of achievement begins with creating a culture of showing up. There have been some unique challenges that all districts have faced in the 21-22 school year, yet the work of your teams at your school sites clearly demonstrates the commitment and dedication that Cotati Roaner Park USD has toward creating a culture of showing up. The result becomes improved student achievement. I am here this evening to help recognize 2 school sites and their staff members who have committed to this culture and worked tirelessly in a year with many unique challenges to focus on improved attendance and family engagement. Before we begin with the awards, I would like to specifically recognize the work of CRPUSD's Student Services team, led by Director Matt Marshall and Rocky Schumann. Under the leadership of Matt and Rocky, these teams all regularly engage with the Attention to Attendance program to access data, reporting, and student records that help them support the school sites they work with. Their dedicated and consistent efforts have made a significant impact on the success of the schools we are recognizing tonight and on the district as a whole. So Rocky, I know you're waiting in the wings. Matt, I know you're in the audience, but Rocky, I would like to present to you this certificate of achievement, and this is for Matt also.
Thank you very much.
Of course, thank you for all of your work. It's very appreciated. And now we can begin with the awards. The first school we would like to award is John Reed Elementary School. They reduced chronic absenteeism by 6.4% and addressed 100% of their conferences in A2A. So I do have a beautiful plaque to present.
Thank you.
And in addition to the plaque, I would like to recognize Anna Maria Young. Is that you? Yes. Oh, wonderful. Congratulations. Thank you for your work, Anna Maria. I would also like to recognize Karina Morales Alvarez. She's an office assistant.
Amazing.
She is amazing.
She's not here today.
And I'd also like to recognize Linda Ortega. She's an office manager.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And the next school we would like to award is University Elementary at La Fiesta. Reduced chronic absenteeism by 7.3%. Addressed 100% of A2A conferences. So I do have a plaque for you to display as well. Congratulations and thank you for your hard work. And I would also like to recognize Christina Lundy. Wonderful.
Thank you.
There you go. And also I would like to recognize Alicia Lara, the office manager at University Elementary at La Fiesta.
Definitely. She calls everybody.
And Diana Zabana. She's the office assistant. Fantastic work for her as
Could
well.
not do it without those two. Thank you.
All right, so congratulations, everyone. Thank you for all that you do. We are looking forward to another year of success. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Ms. Hankerson, Principal Marguerite Hahn, and she's going to give us a presentation on professional learning communities.
Can you see that? Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay. Hi, good evening. I'm Rachel Hankerson. I'm the principal of Hahn Elementary School, and I'm going to talk to you about professional learning communities. We call them PLCs. So it's one of those acronyms that if you hear flying around, professional learning communities is the actual what it stands for. Today's objectives, I'm hoping that at the end of this, you will understand a little bit of the PLC process and how it relates to student learning and student achievement, and the process that our teachers go through in planning, assessing, and then planning again for our students. This presentation and PLCs align with LCAP goal number 1, provide and support a relevant and rigorous curriculum based on the California Common Core state standards to maximize student achievement. Okay, so now for the fun stuff. And I love this, so you're gonna get like a little drop because I could talk hours and I don't wanna do that. It's a Tuesday night. But if something that you hear tonight is like, oh, I want to know more, come on by, because we love these. All right, so they're data-driven, which is a huge, important piece of this. And they focus on teacher collaboration. So our teachers are able to share their best practices based on the data. So they come together, they look at student data, and they say, hey, how did you get your kids to be able to read or understand this piece? And then they say, oh, well, I taught them this strategy, and then they go back and do those strategies in the other classes. They have a shared common assessment that the team often creates themselves. And the teachers are able to focus on how they're going to get the students where they need to be. Okay. All right, so we start with priority standards. You probably know the state gives us a ton of standards. And while we do teach, I would say all of them, we can't really dive deep into all of them. So the first step is that teachers have to identify what standards are most important. And so the way that we identify this is we say, okay, what are some of those things like as parents, you wouldn't be okay if only one of your kids was able to do? Crossing the street, for example. We want all of our kids to be able to cross the street safely. So that's how we relate to priority standards. These are the standards we want all kids to be able to do. These are the ones that often build then from kinder to first to second to third, all the way up. Okay, so trimester pacing, this is how we start. I want to give a big shout out. My teachers did all of this work. I'm presenting on this, but this is all them. So this is how our teachers take all the standards, and you can see, I won't click through them all, but the state gives us lots and lots and lots of standards. So the teachers start by deciding when they're going to teach them, if they're in the fall, if they're going to teach them in the winter, or in some cases, it is a all year long standard, meaning that it's going to build throughout the year. And then we go into, this is a template that we use. This is an example of one standard. Then from here, underneath these boxes right here, those are all the little things that standard is expecting our students to do. So you can see that one standard has a lot of expectations for our students. Then if you've been in an elementary classroom recently, you probably hear teachers and students talking about I can statements. So that's this bottom row. And what we do is we put the big standard into these really attainable statements that the students can say. So for example, this standard is a 4th grade standard that our students have been focusing on, where they're multiplying multiple digit numbers. So these are the pieces that are going to build up to really what it's asking at the end, multiply 2-digit numbers using strategies. And we would have our students up on the board, they would be able to say, I can multiply 2-digit numbers using a preferred algorithm. And if you were to walk into the classroom, you would see various examples of how they're doing that. And I'm going to show you an example in a minute. So during the meeting, each grade level has norms. One of the things that you'll see on our form, our protocol, which is how they keep notes and they share their document with me and our ed specialist. They can all see each other's forms, so it's a way that we can check in with each other across grade levels. I can check in with them, and I know what's going on really at a glance. Their norms include things like air traffic control. They don't have a very long time for these meetings. They're typically about 30 minutes. So our air traffic controller is somebody who keeps them on topic. For 30 minutes, we're going to talk about this standard. We're going to talk about how our kids are doing. We're not going to talk about, all the tangents that we all like to go on. They are meeting about 1 or 2 of the learning targets. So if you go back to that chart that that I just showed you, when we do a PLC, we're only focusing on 1 or 2 of these boxes. So it's a really narrowed focus. And then we're focusing on forming questions. What do we want all students to know and be able to do? So that's the identifying the target and the learning, or the standard, and the learning targets. How will we know if they've learned it? So that's the teachers looking at the shared assessment results. How will we respond when some students do not learn? And how will we extend the learning for students who already know it? Like I said before, the meetings are typically 30 minutes and usually about once or twice a month, depending on other things that we've got going on. All right, so then I have an example. Can you see that okay? Let's see if I can enlarge it a little bit. Is that better? Okay, so this was a 4th grade example. The first one is January, and then I'm going to show you how it progressed into February. So they start by reviewing their data. Unfortunately, in this situation, the kids did not meet their goal. It happened that there was a high rate of student absenteeism during the instruction. It's a little bit funny that that's, sorry. In one of our classes, 50% of the students had passed, and then 63% in the other class. So then they go into talking about Based on the data, how did you teach that? So they look at the actual tests, they're looking at the actual problems, and they're saying, they're looking for things that kids were successful in and things that they weren't in, and then relating that back to the teaching strategies that they used. So here's some things that were successful. Then they started talking about what are we going to do with the kids who didn't learn it. They realized that there were a lot of fact errors, subtraction, multiplication. They talked about allowing for them to use a multiplication chart. Maybe they needed to be reminded of this. And then how they're going to reassess their learning in a couple of weeks, rather than moving on to a new standard. And so I want to reiterate that this really is our guiding force of when are our kids ready to move on and when are they not. This is one of those, our kids need to know how to cross the street standards. So this is that big, our kids need to know how to multiply multi-digit numbers. So they didn't move on. They went back and they retaught. You can see here their next steps and how they were deciding who was going to do what. And then this was their results in February. So 80% of students passed with 80% higher in the first class, and then 70% in the second class. They looked at why their kids didn't do as well right there. And then they shared, again, some more successes. If you look, these successes are added to strategies that they had tried the previous month. And then they decided, okay, we're going to move on. 80% of our kids have it. But if we go back to what do we do with the kids who still don't have it, if I scroll down each teacher, I took the student names out and just replaced them with letters and numbers. But then they went back and made a plan individually for each kid who still had not mastered that standard. So in summary, PLCs really allow for our teachers to be the expert. They collaborate with each other and share strategies around areas that they were successful, really rooted in the data. And then they go back and use those strategies that were shared. Our next steps, this is a continuous cycle for improvement. So we're always looking at the data and then planning, looking at the data and planning for what our next lessons are. We are getting ready to kind of look at ending and closing out our year. We end our year with something we call keep, change, and delete. What do we want to keep for next year? What do we want to change for next year? And what are we going to delete altogether? It's nice to do it when it's still fresh in our head. And then we share as a staff and make goals for next year and start to align things K through 5th. Any questions? Nothing.
I don't have any questions, but thank you.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions?
Is this, I don't know if you'll know this or if Dr. Perez knows, is it something that just Hahn is doing or all of our elementary schools are doing this?
All of our elementary schools are doing this. One of the nice things about PLCs is that every school and even every grade can be in a different place as far as where they're at. I feel like we've really been doing 17, and I feel like we have a really good momentum going. But then I look at where I want us to be and I'm like, oh, there's so more. It's like still so much more. And that's one of the things that's really exciting about this is that you're never done and you're always looking at the next thing and okay, well, how can we build this? How can we start connecting the grades? All of our principals have been really lucky to be part of the California Principal Support Network. And we go to a training about every month. It's a 3-year program. The first year is just principals, and then the second and third year you get to bring teachers with you, which has been really helpful because then our teachers hear the same message and we go back and share it with our teachers.
This is something that is a really powerful strategy, looking at data, reteaching, and making sure our students all acquire the standards. It's something that when I arrived, I know Rachel was involved and some of the other schools were involved, And then what they've requested is to continue to participate. So new principals are all added into the group. So it's been a real powerful network, and I've attended, in my former district, we attended, and there's a showcase, and you can see the data and how all the different districts are working. So it's an opportunity for our principals to be trained, but to also be working with other districts and see how they're using data to impact student achievement.
And then so like at the end of second grade, can the third grade teachers kind of see what worked with these kids in second grade and maybe what didn't work so well, or these groups are very hands-on, or this class is very analytical, or different things like that?
Yeah, one of the things that we're getting ready to do in May is kind of like sharing out, and we do it as a whole staff, and we share like what are some successes for this grade level and what are some wishes that you wish this grade level was moving on for, like, so that the next year's teacher is like, okay, they're still struggling with this area. And then we also look at it, so we make it into a chart, which I have if you'd like to see it a later time. And we look for commonalities. So a couple years ago, we looked and we really realized like our FAC fluency K through 5 was low. And so then we made a plan and figured out how we were going to start to incentivize our kids to practice their FACs and how we were going to communicate that with families, and got a program that also supported that. So really drives our direction.
What was really exciting is last year in June, our principals presented to one another and gave each other feedback on their work they're doing in professional learning communities. It was really exciting because it's an opportunity for the leaders to share, what worked for you, how did you address this, and the essential standards, the priority standards. So it was a pretty exciting day for us to see all the work and that connection with the PLCs.
So one more question. What disciplines is this applied to? Meaning, is it math, reading, writing? What or is it across the board for everything?
Yeah, so they can do it with whatever they want. And I really feel like, PLCs are not a new thing. They've been around. And sometimes people get a bad taste in their mouth from them because I think they haven't been done the right way. Somebody's come in and said, this is what you have to do. You have to do it this way, and you have to do it this way. I've really given my teachers the freedom to make the form the way that it works for them and to choose the subject that they want to choose because they know their kids. So if they want to focus on math that week, then focus on math. And if that form's not working, turn it over right on the back and give me the information that you need to. When I think I really realized that PLCs had become part of our school culture when we had a bowling night at Hahn. It was a family night, and I was sitting next to a couple of my teachers, and they started doing a PLC on the bowling scores for the parents. They were like, well, how are we going to? I was like, okay, we're in. Like, this is part of who we are. So you can do it with anything. Baseball, Giants, whatever you want. Left. There you go, left.
But has this obviously, the example's math, so it's been applied to reading and writing too?
Yep. They do reading, they do writing, and math. Those are really the primary ones. Occasionally, they'll look at social emotional results or science, but really, because they're the priority standards, it's usually reading, writing, and math.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are the Sped classes participating in the PLCs too, or do they do it separate, or do they have something else, or how do we?
So I don't have an SDC at Hahn currently, but I can speak to my RSP teacher because sometimes this is how we will decide if other kids need a little bit more support, then she will help them. The rule that we have is that they can't decide that a student has to work with the RSP teacher unless she's in the room. So typically during a PLC, she's like, tell me what room you're in. And then she pops around into each one and like, okay, where are you guys at? How is this? And runs throughout. And then we have a agenda that all the grade levels hyperlink them into so that she can go back and look through. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you guys very much. You know where to find me if you want more PLC information. And I don't know how I exit out of this because I did mine differently. Should I just exit here? because of my links, it wasn't working. Okay, there you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nickerson. I think, except we have Dr. Gansler from Rancho Cotati talking about the CTE program.
Top left. CT. There we go. How exciting.
Good evening. I'm Louis Gansler.
I'm Heather Ramey. And I'll take the floor. I'm assistant principal at Rancho Cotati High School. You all know Louis Gansler is our principal. We are here tonight to speak with you about our CTE program, which stands for Career Technical Education at Rancho. The objectives of this presentation are to provide an overview of our program and how it aligns with the LCAP, our 9th grade academies, and the 4-year plans that we instituted this year with freshmen. So the LCAP goal alignment is as follows. It aligns with Goal 1 regarding supporting relevant and rigorous curriculum based on California Common Core state standards to maximize student achievement, and Goal 2, to implement a broad course of study that meets all students' needs and interests and prepares them for college and career. So we started this year with our counseling team with all freshmen, meeting with them individually to create 4-year plans, so that as students enter into Rancho Cotati High School, they have a meeting with their counselor. They are provided with an overview of all of the programming at Rancho Cotati High School, and they set college and career goals before even stepping foot on campus. What this does is it allows them to map an academic career that aligns with those goals, and so that they can look at completing, and we'll talk about more about this in a minute, a CTE pathway and or an AP course of study, or both. Every freshman starts in a 9th grade academy at Rancho. They can choose from these 5: law and justice, biomedical, management and events, computer science, and film. Each academy is a combination of 3 classes: English, world history, and a focus area, and these here are the focus areas. Each of these academies then leads into a pathway of the students choosing. You can see here on this slide we have 14 pathways of study in CTE at Rancho. We have 7 in the arts and 7 in professions. We have a wide breadth of study available for students, from computer-aided design to woodworking to computer science, biomedical, sewing, fashion design. We have lots available to our students. You'll see the yellow, I don't want anyone to be distracted by our yellow colored squares. What that indicates is that that's a CTE pathway required course that is funded by our Perkins legislation.
All right, and so we have some data for you where a lot of the things that we just previously mentioned have coalesced and come together. So if you look at the English learner enrollment in CTE column on the far right, we have measured a 161% increase in the amount of participation in those pathways. I've been looking at education data for a long time as a teacher, as a student, and then as an administrator. In terms of anything that I've seen connected to anything I've been involved in, that's the most dramatic increase I've ever seen in a positive way, at least as a principal at Rancho. And the reason for that is we are seeing a lot of things coming together. We're seeing a plan where we're setting an expectation. We have created a lot of different courses of choice for students to take that might appeal to something they actually want to accomplish. And we, because of our schedule, for the first time, many of our students who could not previously fit an extra elective into their schedule now have access to it. And that's why we're seeing that kind of increase across the board. And so just real briefly, like at a very basic level, if you think about like your junior year where you're taking English, science, math, history, and an elective, and a lot of times those support classes are forced electives, there's nothing else. Now there is. We have an additional class. And so when we look at those 2 years, the culmination of opening up that kind of access to our students is resulting in these kinds of increases. And to me, it's a very dramatic, very emotional data point, because we are looking at students who wouldn't normally have a career pathway, and they are graduating with the promise of college and career ready within these pathways. So very excited to see that data. There was one, there's 14 different pathways. Each one of them has a compelling story. Here's one. We have a sewing and fashion pathway. During the pandemic, Deborah B., the teacher, teamed up with 2 other teachers, an English teacher, Miss Brown, and a leadership teacher, Miss Holman. Holman's class did some fundraising. Miss Brown's class did writing. They put together care packages that included masks that were made by the sewing pathway, and then sent them to all sorts of places like hospitals, convalescent homes. Below, there's some quotes. One's from a student. It's great to be able to take classes where I get to work with my hands, learn about possible careers, and obtain new skills I can use after graduation. And then the Oncology Center Director wrote a thank you note. We recently received 200 masks, hand sewn by students at Rancho Cotati High School, that we'll be giving out to our mammo patients starting tomorrow. Such a thoughtful donation. In terms of where we would like our pathways to go next, we would like to increase our community partnerships so that we have lots of partners that are endpoints for a lot of our careers. And then we'd also like to create a couple sections for work-based learning, so that if we have someone who really is interested in their senior year working in a field that is CTE related, we can be a liaison, and we can provide support as they transition into a professional setting. We can give them units for working. We can provide interactions between the supervisors and ourselves to make sure that our students are doing well. And we can supplement it with curriculum about what it means to be a professional worker in the workplace. And that's it. We'd be happy to answer any questions. And also, I do want to, before we get into questions, Ms. Ramey is here because all the APs have different departments. Ms. Ramey's department is CTE as well. So that is also why she's here.
Go ahead. Okay. So can you go back to your chart? It shows right there. So for 2021, we have 829 participants, correct?
Yes, people who took CTE classes, yes.
So you're meeting with all the freshmen, which I think is fantastic, and showing that. And so obviously some students don't sign up for Pathway, correct? Or am I wrong?
Correct, yeah. I mean, so 829 is a little more than half the school.
So we have, 600 or so that choose not to do that type thing. But, same time, learning. I remember when I went to school, thinking, why am I doing this? What am I going to use calculus for? Unless I'm going to become a scientist or something. So I think that's great. And my question to the 600 or so, are they just on a college track and they're not interested in a career yet? Or can you give me some idea of why a student doesn't want to sign up for this?
This is 1 year's data. So in 2021, we had 829 people in CT. It doesn't mean that in the previous 3 years, a senior might not have taken CTE, right? So it's 829 that 1 year. I don't know what percentage of our student body has not taken CTE, but given that all of them go through a freshman academy now, and they all lead to CTE pathways, I mean, it's an interesting question, and I'll look it up, but I mean, I guess basically what I'm saying is 829 people took it that year. That's 1 year out of 4 in a student's high school career.
Okay. Great, thanks.
Excuse me. Of the academies that you guys have, the law and justice, biomedical, how did you pick those topics? Like, why those ones?
Yep.
They pay.
Two basic criteria. One, we wanted a wide range, something that was representative of a lot of diversity in terms of interest. And the second is, who did we have on campus that could do that?
That makes sense. Yep. And then, so if you do the CTE and you follow it all 4 years, do you get like a designation on your diploma that says I followed this CTE track and I have a designation?
Yeah, there's some seals on diploma for various CTE things. Yeah.
And they also get really cool stoles for graduation.
I mean, those things are important to some people, but yes, that's great. So I just like the recognition part of it, that they completed the program and got it through. Cool. And are we working with any, I know in years past, I think you guys have worked with outside agencies, and I know you want to going forward. Are we working with any now that we have internships where the kids can go to outside of college?
Yes, and one of the positions we have is a career and college counselor who also serves as a work-based learning coordinator. And we work with the CTE Foundation, and they have a wonderful database within the county for precisely those things.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And so, yes, and also just within a CTE pathway, part of the best practices is to have at least one partner that would fall into that category.
That's cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, those.
Thank you.
7, we have public comment. I'm going to read the disclaimer. Please keep your comments concise, brief, and limited to 3 minutes or less. A maximum of 20 minutes is allotted to each subject not appearing on the agenda. If there are more speakers than time allotted, they are each offered the opportunity to speak for an equal duration, up to 20 minutes. The Brown Act restricts the board from considering any item not appearing on the posted agenda. So it looks like we have one public comment for items not on the agenda. Jen Boglovich.
Hello, school board, trustees, and Superintendent Perez. I'm Jen Bodlovich. Good evening. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of RIPSIA's LGBTQ+ committee, where I am our union representative to bring attention and advocate for our LGBTQ population. It's exciting to be standing in a theater that's going to be named after a teacher who created the first GSA at Rancho Cotati, Jim Pitt. I listened online to his dedication and heard all the inspiring stories about him from colleagues and former students. What an incredible person. He created that place for kids who are looking for a place to fit in and feel safe. My last share-out speech regarding this committee was in October, and following that speech, I had rich conversation with Assistant Superintendent Perez, where we both recognized the need for learning and having conversations on these issues so we can best support students. Thank you for connecting with me, Dr. Perez, and I look forward to working with the district more. For the last few months, our monthly meetings have had focused topics. February and March were focused on rights and inclusive language of students who are transgender. This month's topic was bullying, and it's come to my attention that there has not been recent staff training or dialogue about bullying policies and protocol at school sites. I know our district is using an app where students can report bullying, yet constructive dialogue and learning with the staff is important. I'd like to provide some information about LGBTQ+ kids and bullying. According to the Trevor Project from October 2021, 1 in 2 LGBTQ kids were bullied in middle and high school. LGBTQ+ students are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide, and bullying is often a factor. Due to statistics such as this, Seth's Law was created 10 years ago in July of 2012. Seth's Law is named after Seth Walsh, a 13-year-old boy from Tehachapi, California, who took his own life following years of anti-gay bullying that his school failed to address. In the years after Seth came out in 6th grade, he was harassed and physically attacked by students, especially in locker rooms. Seth's Law requires public schools in California to update their anti-bullying policies and programs which added protection to students who are bullied based on their actual or perceived sexual orientation or gender identity, gender expression, as well as race and ethnicity, nationality, gender, disability, and religion. I'm hoping that as this year ends and we begin to plan for next year, the topic of bullying policies and protocol is integrated, where we can integrate into our professional development, where we can engage in dialogue to best support the social, emotional, and well-being of our students. And I'm willing to support and collaborate with the district in this area however I can. Thank you for listening.
Jen, can I ask you a question quick?
Of course.
I know it's sponsored by RIPSIA. Is it just RIPSIA members, or are there students or parents? Like, who's on the committee?
Great question. So it started with just teachers, but it was recently asked in one of our rep council meetings if a student could attend, and so the answer was yes. We haven't had any students attend. I did put out to Dr. Perez to join us for one meeting. She wasn't able to, but definitely willing to, I would imagine, support, with parents, yes, by all means. The more dialogue, the better. I'm a learner, and as we all are, I'm wanting to engage in conversations to learn and to help each other out. I've often sent out, the emails I send to members are like, hey, if you want to learn or have questions, or if you have knowledge about something that can add to our conversations so we can all learn and be better teachers and for more inclusivity, by all means. So I would love to see this go anywhere, and it's, yeah.
Thank you.
The more the merrier. Thank you.
I have a question for you.
Of course.
Is it possible, are these Zoom meetings?
Currently, yes, they have been Zoom meetings.
Would you be open to having a former student of the system here in Rancho Cotati?
Absolutely.
I was talking with my son who is gay, and he was harassed so badly. He still deals with the harassment here on this campus, unfortunately. And he is now of an age, about to be 38, where he's asking what he can do, how he could get involved. So I'm going to send you his information and vice versa.
That would be wonderful. And what I ultimately would love to have too is a panel so that we can hear from these kids and how, what things helped them out, and having teachers who were those teachers that they knew they could go to, and why was that? And, it is a collaborative piece here, and it's with, of course, admin also, just so that we have really robust conversations about what do we do, what does bullying look like, and it could look like many different things. And so that's, just starting those conversations. But yes, by all means, thank you, and I would love to have conversations with
Thank you.
any of you. Any other questions? Thank you.
Next, we have Tracy Ewings.
a lot taller than I am. Hi, there's no podium. Things have changed. Hi, Tracy Ewens, and I just, like, my thoughts right now are kind of sporadic. Apologize for being late. I was at soccer practice. It's been a long 2 years for all of us, just getting on the other side of COVID. Strike, which I never thought I'd be a part of. I'm sure everybody in this room's had something in their personal life that's been major in the last 2 years. In the last 2 weeks, there's been just so much excitement and the experiences that the reason I want to be a teacher, and the joy of school, and field trips are being planned. And Denise might have mentioned this. I know I came late, so I didn't hear it. Field trips, promotions, the stress of doing the SBAC, and those type of things. The fact that I get to see my students' faces smiling. This is all like why I teach in this district, why I send my children to this district, why I keep watching the board meetings and showing up. My heart is in it 100%. It's really actually kind of a little emotional for me because I just love so much our community, and we're on the other side, and I feel we're on the other side. I don't know how everybody else in the room feels. I want to work together. Let's make this great again. Let's go and see what were the things that we were doing amazing. Why have I convinced families to leave districts to come to our district? What were we doing that was working well? Let's not recreate everything. We have an amazing district, amazing teachers, amazing staff, amazing office managers, paras, everything. And I just want to work with everybody in this room. The collaboration that just happened with Krista and Jen, I was like, that's what we want. Like, let's put our ideas together. You're probably surprised that I'm not complaining about anything. I just want to work together and make this better. That's all. A lot of the topics that in previous board meetings I came up and talked about are things that in previous years would be brought up with board members, just kind of in the lunchroom. Like, tell us you're coming to lunch. We'll stop by the lunchroom. Let's work together. I've been put in a few today, and I'm like, these are things that, like, if in the lunchroom, I would be like, hey, could you just explain this to us? So I just want to get back to collaborating and making the district fabulous. There's so much amazing things happening right now. I saw a West Side Story the other day. My kid's going on an Excel trip, I think, next week. There's, kids. It's just amazing district, and we're lucky to have this community. And that's all. So thank you. Let's move forward and make it good. Thanks.
Thank you, Tracy. Tracy?
I'm also here to kind of remind you that we are still paying attention, and part of what I wrote earlier was, I'm bummed that there's not as many teachers here, honestly. I was hoping that I came from soccer practice, I'd walk in and there'd be a lot more. I know a bunch of people are at home watching and are gonna watch later, and I'll catch up on the beginning part. But on this agenda item, looking through it, the surveillance cameras and installation just seemed like a really big ticket item to me. And I assume it's coming from the same funding that might be able to help my classroom not have duct tape keeping my carpet together. But that was just the approval of those. I assume somebody's gonna explain those, but that was it. But see, that would be a lunchroom conversation if come by. Thank you.
We have the consent agenda. Does anyone want to discuss any of the items A through N? Or have any questions?
Well, we didn't pull them to discuss them, so you would have had to pull them to discuss them.
So just a point of reference for everybody, the consent agenda, A through N gets approved as one thing. If we wanted to discuss any of those, we would need to pull them at the beginning of the meeting, and then we could pull them. So they're kind of like one big package all wrapped together right now, and since none of us pulled them at the beginning, so I just didn't want everyone to think that we're not discussing it. That's just how the consent agenda items work.
And the other thing on the consent agenda is that we've all had this information, we've all read the information. If we had any questions, we would ask of staff. So we would have pulled it if somebody had a concern on something on there. So none of us did that. So I'm assuming everyone did their homework and everyone's doesn't have any problems or any further questions on any of these items. So thank you.
Can I get approval of the consent agenda items a motion to approve A through N?
I'll make a motion to approve 8A consent agenda through 8A through 8N.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 9, educational services. No public comment. We have a presentation, TK through 8th grade, ELD curriculum presentation.
Yes, and so this is going to be an agenda item where our team is going to present on the process for the TK through 8th grade ELA, English Language Arts and English Language Development curriculum. And then at the conclusion, we will ask for your approval for this curriculum to be adopted and then to proceed with the purchase. So with that, I give you our wonderful curriculum specialist, Ms. Katie Larkin.
Hi, I'm Katie Larkin, and presenting with me tonight is Dawn Rasmussen from Tech Middle School and Laura Thomas from Monte Vista. So we're really excited to be here with you tonight. Our presentation objectives are to go over the process that we held while adopting a curriculum, the timeline of curriculum evaluations and the decision, feedback that was given via rubrics, and outcomes of the pilot process. It's aligned to LCAP Goal 1, LCAP Goal 2, and LCAP Goal 5. Here is an overview of throughout the school year of the timeline, that different aspects of the curriculum adoption of when it took place. Just one thing to note is that each curriculum was given an equal amount of time for piloting, so they had an equal exposure for the teachers with implementing the curriculum. And then I'm going to go over the process a little bit more in depth. So the Curriculum Council that was formed last year had presentations given to them from different publishers that were from the California state approved list of curriculum. So presentations were given to the curriculum counselor from the publishers. From there, the Curriculum Council decided which curriculums to pilot, and then from there, pilot teams were formed. Curriculum Council members were given the options to opt into the pilot, and then site admin selected teachers or worked with their teachers to put representatives forth from different school sites. From there, curriculum materials were ordered for district office and were offered for all teachers to review. The pilot team piloted curriculum over 4 months. From there, we had a curriculum review was hosted on February 2nd to gain input and perspective from parents in the community. And then from there, the pilot teams met in grade level spans to review the curriculum using a rubric adopted from the California County Superintendent's Educational Services Association ELA/ELD Adoption Toolkit that really looks at quality and really important aspects of curriculum to ensure that it meets the needs of our diverse student population. From there, Laura's going to take over.
So to give you a little snapshot of who was a part of this team, as Kate shared, it started off with the Curriculum Council with teachers who moved on. I was one of them into the pilot team. We had many teachers across different sites, across different grade levels who were a part of this. At each checkpoint along the way, we provided feedback, we checked in, and it was a really collaborative process to be able to come together and say what's working for you, what's not, and how is that going for your students. At the end of this entire process, we came together once more to come to some conclusions of what we'd like to bring forth tonight to the board about our adoption. Thank you. So a little snapshot of the elementary world. I teach 4th grade, and I had a great experience piloting 2 different curriculums. Our recommendation this evening is to move forward with the Benchmark Advanced program for TK5 for both English Language Arts and English Language Development. So this wonderful graphic here kind of gives a lot of insight into this process, the things that we were wrapping our mind around as we went through each program. A couple things that really stood out to this team was making sure our curriculum that we adopt is culturally responsive and student-centered. Making sure that each one of our students can see themselves in it, they're engaged with it, and excited to learn. Another huge point for us was looking at the ELD curriculum. So with this adoption, we would have language arts curriculum and ELD curriculum. With Benchmark, the alignment with the 2 was amazing, to be able to have both go side by side to support the learning of all students and have all those access points to support every student's access to learning. Writing is another huge area. This is the part that really, really excited me, to see my students dig into the reading and then apply what they're reading into their writing was amazing, to see that application of it. Which is something that I hope all teachers enjoy too. Most importantly, looking at the standards, how those are, like Rachel was talking about earlier, the standards that we use to guide our teaching. Benchmark Advanced definitely echoes that, and is aligned with that to support our students with testing season, which is starting next week for us, so CASP and SBAC. It's a great, strong program that has many foundational skills that support our students at a really young age in TK and kindergarten as they move up the grade level span in their career with our district here.
Hello again. My name is Don Rasmussen, and I teach at the Technology Middle School, and I have 2 hats there. I teach the language arts for 8th grade, and I'm representing the 6th to 8th grade strand, and I also teach the ELD, and that's multi-grade. And so I was able to join up with the team and experiment basically with 2 different types of ELA curriculum. One of them was the Study Sync, and the other one was Amplify. And when we got together as a task force, we chose to ratify basic or recommend Amplify 100%. And the main difference between the 2 is Study Sync was good, it was solid, it had great vocabulary development, it had some good interactions with some video, but it was too much like what they were doing a year ago, being so online, so faced with the computer. And so the kids really were not engaged with it. Amplify, on the other hand, has both the online component and a print component, and the kids were much more engaged. In addition, they had the complete novel sets that we could also use. The integration between the language arts, and then as language arts teacher, we also could support our ELD with the integrated section, was very complete. It was, we could move from one to the other to give support to our EL kids. And so when we looked at it, it was a wider range of quality texts within the Amplify. It was culturally relevant. There was also some monitoring and some assessments that could feed information to the teachers to know what to do for individuals or as a class as a whole. The alignment and existing work, the materials were in line with what we had as a philosophy and as a concept for our own site. And so it fit nicely in that way. Now for ELD, and that's my other hat, we did also choose this program, which is the Cengage, and it is something that's related to the National Geographic, and it has a very solid newcomer program. And so within the last couple months, I've had a number of newcomers. A newcomer is someone who's in our country the first time without much of an education coming within the state of California or other parts. And so they are very new to the language. And so they have this one, Cengage has a very strong newcomer, but it continues on into where our more advanced speakers of English and those who are about to be exited out of the program, it supports them also with solid reading. And with that solid reading comes good writing, and it gives us a chance to help them improve in their writing systems also. There's different assessments. Their levels are based on their language abilities, and so one of our plans next year with this is to have the kids aligned towards where they are in their language learning, more so than within their grade levels. And so that's going to help with our structure. There is explicit directions, explicit instruction, but there's also things that the kids could interact as we present. And so it provides both experiential things and explicit directions. And so, again, we chose this as a team as 100%. Okay, thank you.
You're going to notice that we're recommending 3 different publishers, and the reason is because it was a democratic process, and within each grade level band, the teachers evaluated each program for that context and what their students need and what those grade levels needed for their programs. The other thing to note is that middle school curriculum, when they voted to move forward the curriculum, it was unanimous in both ELA and ELD moving forward. And then for elementary, we had 11 people vote, and we had 1 teacher vote for the other program. In a one-off dialogue with her, I just talked to her about her the evaluation process, and she was more than comfortable to move forward with benchmark, but she voted for the other program just because of what she saw in her student engagement, not that she had any concerns about the rigor or what it would offer to our students. Our next steps for implementation, we are gonna hopefully move forward with ordering lots of materials towards the end of April and May. We're working on a sequence of professional development for our initial professional development coming back in August, and follow-up professional development throughout the school year, working with sites to map out instructional sequence, working with the Curriculum Council to support implementation and follow up with assessments, and then we'll be collaborating with with different departments in the district office with tech services to ensure access to the technological aspect of the curriculum facilities to make sure that we get everything delivered appropriately and hopefully before the end of the school year, and business to be financing our purchase. So our final recommendation to the board will be for elementary TK through 5, ELA, ELD, benchmark advance. For middle school ELA, we are recommending Amplify ELA. And for our middle school ELD, we are recommending Cengage Inside. And finally, I just want to take a moment to thank our amazing ELA curriculum pilot team members. For elementary, it's Simone Graves, Jessica Gillerin, Tammy Barksdale, Joaquin Bernal, Laura Thomas, Elise August, Susanna Penn, Nikki Bocleone, Ellen Guglio, Ellen from Richard Crane, Michelle Talbot, she goes by Mrs. G. And then middle school, Jill Finnerty, Rebecca Cronin, Katie Waresich, Cindy Marsh, Simone Johnson, Dawn Rasmussen, and Jessica Tulloch for their time. It was a huge additional load that they took this year, and this pilot would not have been possible without their collaboration and hard work. So huge shout out to our teachers that participated. And that concludes our presentation.
So all the materials are available right now? There's no back order or anything
No,
like that?
There's still the supply chain that is taking a little bit of extra time to get materials, but we will have, we're ready to go as soon as we get the green light, and our goal is to get them at least the first unit of materials to school sites before the end of the school year so that teachers at their liberty can have the opportunity to peruse and engage with it as much as they would like to before the beginning of the school year.
And is there, when we buy these materials, is there any professional development that's included with it?
Yes. So with each vendor, different number of professional development days are included with the purchase of the curriculum. It's typically based on how much money you spend and or how many teachers you have. It just varies based on the vendor that we're using.
And then has that been scheduled?
Yeah, so we're working on the final details of scheduling that professional development, but we have a plan for how we hope to sequence that professional development throughout the school year to support implementation, like that initial implementation, then follow-up PD to deepen the practices that we hope to be supporting our teachers in.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
And just to point out again that this is a 6-year adoption, so the cost that you see here carries us through all print materials, consumables, digital licenses, everything for 6 years.
Joe, on the bottom of these contracts, they talk about the training days. How many teachers were involved? It looked like about 10 from middle and 10 from...
We had about 15 total. I can go back up. I think it was 16 total, so we had 10 at the elementary and 6 at the middle school level.
So what was done to involve all of the teachers and get buy-in? Was there anything done?
So we worked in collaboration with their site administrators to have representatives from all school sites participate in the pilot.
Okay, and then they take the information back to their, okay. Thank you.
And we also had all of the curricular material available to anyone that would like to come and review the materials at the district office for over 5 months.
So are we going to start the training as soon as possible? I mean, this isn't like the teachers come back in August and, oh, look, and they've never seen this material before?
So again, the goal is to get the materials to school sites, to the appropriate teacher for every grade level before the end of the school year. We're still finalizing the exact professional development dates and working with availability of the vendors and what we have available as a district to put in place the professional development dates.
Okay.
It is likely that the big training will happen at the beginning of the year, and that's because there's always some shifting in grade levels that people are teaching, and we hire new teachers, and we do have a robust summer school program that we're launching. So, you know, we are going to have a PD offering for Richard Crane that, you know, we could open up since their first day back is earlier than the first day back for others. Okay. But in looking at also cost effectiveness to train teachers over the summer, we need to use the PD days that we have already built into the calendar.
Okay, thank you.
So this is exciting. Thank you for doing this. Long time coming. It's exciting that I think I counted 17 if my eyes are working of you that
You may have better eyes than me.
Yeah, that brought this up as opposed to someone sitting at this table saying, here, you know, buy this program, do this type thing. So thank you for all your work, and I support this, and hopefully the other board members do, and we can go forward with this. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So it says that the 9th through 12th grade adoption will be presented at a future board meeting?
Yes.
So echoing the time constraints, when would that be?
And so the high school program is likely to be far more digital in nature than print materials. And we're still working and meeting with the high school teachers. We just want to be 100% sure of what we bring forward, as this is a really long-term decision. And I have a meeting tomorrow morning with the team. And so we're hoping what had us pause for a minute was how we will address our English learners with curriculum. There's this planning that's real intricate between the ELA curriculum and the needs of English learner students. So we're taking a minute to look at that more closely.
Okay, thank you.
So your TK through 8, is it a combination of digital and good old-fashioned textbooks and photocopies and? things for the wall.
I'll
and-
say honestly, for TK through 5, it's moving very much away from a basal curriculum, which is that standardized textbook that you would see available in like past curriculum adoptions. For TK through 5, it's a much more interactive text where the students are engaging with the text. You're developing hands-on literacy practices of things that you would do normally as a reader, and it's getting the kids to do a lot of close reading, which is like analyzing the text in much more detail. So it's actually a consumable where they take the materials, and those materials are both available in print and they're available online. And then for the middle school program, again, it is something that it's dual. It moves between the two online programs where kids can be writing in a consumable textbook and or entering into their online digital platform.
So for the consumable textbook, is each kid getting an actual workbook, or are we making photocopies and handing them out?
Each child is getting a colored workbook.
So does this represent 6 years worth of every kid getting a workbook?
Yes.
Yes, it
So
does.
each kid's gonna get a workbook. I don't have to share with Trustee Nelson. Okay, just checking.
Not for 6 years.
I don't like sharing.
Trustee
I'll just
Lee,
let
not
you
for
know.
6 years.
Okay. I don't like sharing. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Does it like, is the whole package, like do you guys get stuff for the classroom and
Yeah,
wall
so
hangings?
a
and-
lot. I mean, yes, posters, word sound cards, vocabulary cards. There's some really great phonics for K2 that help show kids how their mouths form with sound. Like there's a lot of materials that support our students and support diverse entry points to the curriculum.
And then, what do we do with the old stuff? Like, recycle? Do we?
We will
like, it just
communicate-
generally, like, just trying to be a responsible garbage person. Like, what do we do with all that?
We will make sure we communicate out to our site administrators the appropriate disposal process. We are working with Josh Savage on that as well, as this may call for some extra bins. Typically, though, we do move everything over to the warehouse. There's some rules around marking everything as discarded material. So we're going to follow that process that's put forward with discarded curriculum.
I'm excited. I think this is cool.
Well, thank you, Katie. I believe we're going to vote on this item.
Thank you.
Thank you. So can I get a motion to approve the TK through 8th grade ELA, ELD curriculum?
I make a motion to approve 9A.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
You can hit purchase now.
29 years.
John's got the credit card.
Ms. Bodlovich for public comment.
Hello again. So this is in regards to the calendar for the new ELD curriculum, which also super excited about because teaching Hope Mifflin that is 20 years old is, there's even a section in there that talks about a timeline of how music has changed over time, and it ended in 2000, and so and that's at the CD, and so like the iTunes is not on there and the iPhone, and so it's like, oh, let's talk about publishing dates, everyone. And so yes, I'm looking forward to that also, and I really appreciate what Laura said about having everybody represented in that so students can see themselves in the text. So my thing is about the calendar, though, with the training. It initially, when the calendar was adopted a couple of months ago, it had 3 days of training for that ELD program, which is wonderful and super important for teachers to be successful in the get-go of launching a new program and really getting comfortable with it. And it was offered actually 3 times over the summer, in June, in July, and then in August, to really give teachers a chance to choose what works best for them. If some want to go right after school gets out to really process it, they can do that. The calendar that you're about ready to look at has all 3 of those dates taken, those times taken off, and now there's only 1 day for that ELD training. The K-8 is only on the one of the PD days right before we start school, which is really tricky. And Dr. Perez just mentioned that maybe we can have a date put out right near Richard Crane so that some people can go to that date, although that's in July. Some people might not be able to attend that. Some people already were planning to attend the June date and planned summer trips around that. So I just want the board to know that the calendar that you're just about ready to look at only has 1 date on there for ELD training for this new program, and that's not enough time initially with 1 day. Normally, like when we adopted Eureka Math, we had 2 days right at the beginning of the school year, which was really fantastic, and then we had a follow-up PD day, which was I believe it was in October. And so to just kind of really kind of look at that program. So that needs to be looked at to support us, to provide more time for those days. Thank you.
Is there any way later on that we need to change? Oh, 10C. Okay. Well, sounds good. 10A, approval of job descriptions for school psychologist intern.
We have interns, but we didn't have a job description, so we really wanted to outline that and the responsibilities. So we now have, we're asking for the approval of a school psychologist intern job description.
Can I get approval of 10A? Or not approval, a motion to approve 10A?
I'll move to approve 10A.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 10B, approval of school psychologist intern stipend.
So we are providing, or we're looking to seek approval to provide a stipend for our psychologist interns. This is something that happens throughout our county in different areas, and really it's a way of recruiting psychologists. We know that when we have contracted positions, this is much more expensive, and we prefer to hire our own. So this is just a way to help us recruit, and it's funded by the Federated Englings of Grayton Rancheria Fund.
Can I get a motion to approve 10B?
I'll make a motion to approve 10B.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 10C, approval amended school calendars for 2022-2023.
We have the new calendars. This reflects Juneteenth, which we had an error previously, and we've added the emergency days, which needed to be negotiated. We did make a revision to the training, really as a cost savings. We're going to do everything we can to embed the training during the school year and to support our teachers, and we definitely will continue to look at that.
So we can add PD days if needed, or how does that work with our contract?
We would have to look at our shortened days and embed it that way. And we can also do some optional. We still have to talk about that.
Okay. Is there any questions or discussions? Could I get a motion to approve 10C?
Make a motion to approve 10C.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Business and operation services. Nothing?
Yes, I think we're going to be talking about Proposition 39, Mr. Bartolome? Yes.
Audit is, it's the next item.
Yeah.
Oh.
We're not to 12 yet.
Yeah, we're at 11.
I'm sorry.
Okay. No reports. 12, board services. John, acceptance of Proposition 39 bond audit report for the year ended in June 30th, 2021.
Yeah, as Sherry Lorenz mentioned in her her report earlier, the committee accepted the report, and now it's your turn. There's no vote, but it's just an acceptance of the report that was done as of June 30th, 2021.
Okay, and then D, fiscal update and planning.
So I'm going to talk. Why don't we talk about a couple good things first? Just a
Do we have
verbal.
let's go back. Do we have to accept that?
There's no vote. You're just. It was brought to the board, and you've accepted it.
So action on that?
No
item?
action, right?
No action.
No action.
Just accept it, okay. I'm looking at this online and it doesn't show me.
Just a couple quick facility updates. I don't know if you've noticed, but the scoreboard has been put up at the field at Rancho Cotati High School, and looks great. And the multipurpose room at Evergreen is mostly complete, but I just wanted to announce that there'll be a grand opening, and we're planning it now. For that building very soon. So very excited about that. It's being used now, and it's beautiful. So we'll keep you posted on the grand opening, the actual grand opening of that building. So the other thing I want to talk about is attendance or enrollment. Not attendance so much, but enrollment. So as of March 31st, we had a positive uptick of 22 kids. Most of those kids were at the high school, and they came from several from other local districts, and the rest from out-of-county districts. So that was good. And we had kids that left. We had one go to a charter school, 10 go to out-of-county schools, 3 moved within the county, and 6 were other. So net positive of 22. So we're holding strong on enrollment at this point.
Question, John, this is a first in a long time for this time of the calendar where we're increasing. And so part of this is, I'm assuming I see new apartments going up and new houses, and I'm assuming, I guess it's not good to assume, or guessing, that some of these students are coming from the additional units that are families are moving into the area and stuff. So, I mean, that's a good sign, I guess.
Another prelude to a report that's coming is we have a draft report of a demographic study that we had done that we set out to do a couple months ago. And you're right, there are kids that are coming from those new developments, but it's a way more detailed report than I'm going to give you today. And we'll have the demographer, come out and give a presentation on his findings. So.
Hopefully our curriculum changes and that will draw students also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also a fiscal update, based on when we settled and how we paid everyone out. It wasn't that isn't in the update, but not yet. I'll have it for you next month. And again, I think we did a better job of separating out the one-time money in this fiscal update, so for your pleasure. Any questions?
Thank you, John. E, public disclosures and ratification of tenant agreement with
I'm
Roaner.
sorry, Joe, can I interrupt you for a
sure.
second?
Yeah.
I had to turn myself on here. This letter from SCO, it's recommending that we, it's not a very nice letter, but it's okay, it is what it is. Obviously, the district structural deficit spending cannot be sustained. They are strongly recommending that we do a fiscal recovery plan. I'm assuming we're going to do that. And some of that work is going to come out of the budget committee, a subcommittee. And so Tracy Ewens, come to the budget subcommittee. We have a meeting on April 26th. Talk to your RIPSIA leadership, try to get 3 or 4 people to come. This is important. We're looking at a $3 million deficit and we're going to have to make cuts. We got to balance budget. So the more people that come and the more voices we get, then it's not just us up here going, we're going to cut this and this. We need to hear from everybody. It's still going to be painful. So yeah, this is available online. It's part of the packet. Everybody should read the letter that came from SCO. Thank you. Is it 4? I believe it's 4.
4 to 5:30 and M1.
4 to 5:30. It's in person. M1.
All right, public disclosure and ratification of the tenant agreement with RIPSIA dated March 17th, 2022.
Okay. Presented to you is the public disclosure, which breaks down the cost of the agreement, the tentative agreement that we came up with RIPSIA in mid-March. It has been reviewed by the county, and we either have a letter or we'll provide a letter of response from them at a later time, but any questions?
I think we got the letter this week emailed to us.
This is the letter dated April 13th. It was in my packet. And that includes their response.
So can I get a motion to approve the public disclosure and ratification of the tenant agreement with RIPSIA dated March 17th, 2022?
I'll make a motion that we approve item 12F. E, sorry.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 12F, initial proposal from CSEA for 2021 to 2022 contract reopener negotiations.
So you have the initial proposal from CSEA for this year. Their reopener, and you see the different articles. Article 4, salary, 7, holidays. Article 8, vacation, 9, leaves, 10, classified employee organizations. Article 15, classified discipline procedure, and duration.
Could I get a motion to approve 12F?
A motion to approve 12F.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 12G, initial proposal for 2021 to 2022 negotiations with CSCA Local 645.
Yes, here you have the district's initial proposal for CSEA. Again, Article 4, salary, 7, holidays, 9, leaves, 15, classified discipline procedure, and Article 22, duration. We're seeking approval tonight.
Can I get a motion to approve 12G?
I make a motion to approve 12G.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 12H, public disclosure and ratification of the 2022 SEIU Extended School Year and Summer Program, MOU.
So this is our summer school MOU. We basically define the hours, the daily hours to be 3.75 hours. It'll be a total of 21 days, and we have a $500 completion bonus that we'll be offering our SEIU members.
Can I get a motion to approve 12H?
I will make a motion to approve 12H.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 12I, Resolution 2022-14, Appreciation of Roaner Park Unified School District Employees.
As you all know, during the month of May, we appreciate, we have a Day of the Teacher and our Classified Employees Week, and we want to appreciate and acknowledge the work of our educators. So this is a resolution expressing that gratitude for their work.
This is a roll call vote.
Need a motion first.
Oh, okay. Can I get a motion to approve 12I?
I will make a motion to approve 12I.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Trustee Brown,
Yes?
Trustee Chimino,
Yes.
Trustee Gilliz,
Yes.
Trustee Nelson,
Yes.
Trustee Wing.
Yes.
Uh, 12J, acceptance of gifts and donations to schools and district.
I have a little note here. We always appreciate our donations, but when we have a young entrepreneur that makes a donation, it's just really impressive. So we had a young student who had a lemonade stand and made $26. He's donating to the district. And so we're really, really proud of that. And just, that warms my heart when students donate to their school. So it's a really exciting donation evening for us. And we also have a donation for Technology Middle School for fidget and finger pencil toppers also.
Can I get a motion to approve 12J?
I'll make a motion to approve 12J.
Can I get a second?
I'll second. Yay, lemonade stands.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 12K, approval of additional school as Title I designated target assistant school and other schools moving to targeted assistance beginning 2022-2023.
Yeah, so item 12K is designating Monte Vista as what is called a targeted assist Title I school. So when a school is consistently at the between 35% low income and just shy of 40, like it literally is 39.9, we are able to bring them into Title I status as what is called a targeted assistance school. When a school is targeted assistance, a team needs to develop a criteria to identify specific students to benefit from the Title I dollars. So that distinguishes it from what is called a school-wide program, where in a school-wide program, Title I can benefit all the students that need support out of school. So for that, you have to be at 40% or higher consistently over a few years before we designate the school. So Monte Vista has met that criteria of being solidly above the 35, but not quite at the 40. So we're asking the board to approve bringing Monte Vista on board as a Title I targeted assistance school. And I will work closely with their school site council and preparing them for this transition. The other part of this board item is that Richard Crane has fallen off of the 40%, just below, and now they're in the targeted assist range. And part of this was our timing of our campaign to collect the low-income forms. We had our heaviest push when they were off on break, and that was very unfortunate because we know that they consistently had been in that really solid 40% range. They fell down to 37. And we think that part of it was just the timing of the collection of those household income forms. So we're going to work really hard to get both schools above 40 in the coming year, so that next year I can come and ask for you to designate both schools as school-wide. When we add another school to Title I, we don't receive more money. It's the same pot of Title I. We're just going to distribute it amongst more schools. And that allows us to have more centralized services supporting more schools as well. So that is the request that is being made here in this board item.
So if I heard you right, you have to be above 40% for a couple years to be deemed a Title I school, but if you drop 40 below just once, you get kicked out?
Yes, and if any of these schools were to fall below 35, truly, even if they hit 34.99, they're out. They use the 2 decimal points. That the schools fall out. So that's why I'm very careful when I bring a school. I want to see them solid for a few years. So Richard Crane was really a surprise for us that they fell below, but again, we recognize it was the timing of the campaign we did to collect the forms, and we're going to do better.
And these are the same forms we need to use to get concentration funds, is that right?
Correct. It has really heavy implications for a number of programs.
Can I get a motion to approve 12K?
I'll make a motion to approve 12K.
Can I get a second?
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 12L, first reading for review revisions to board policy 4141.6, concerted action work stoppage and administrative regulation 4141.6, concerted action work stoppage.
So this is a first reading. This is a policy we did not have within our board policies. This reflects the new law, and what this does is protect employees in terms of their contributions to healthcare and medical coverage should there be work stoppage. Okay, so we have this month, this policy, this board policy and administrative regulation is specifically for certificated, and then we will be bringing a policy for classified staff in addition.
12M, first reading, revisions to board policy 4030, non-discrimination in employment.
Yes, again, this is a policy, first reading, and it reflects the new law, Senate Bill 331, which makes it unlawful for the district's use of non-disparagement agreement or any document that discriminates against employees. So this is a new policy revision.
12N, first reading, revision to Bylaw 9322, agenda meeting materials.
Yes, this is a bylaw that talks about how we conduct our board meetings. It is very similar to the previous bylaws, and it has an additional paragraph, and it also, and the other slight changes, we added well-being, student learning and well-being to this policy, of this bylaw.
13, reports. Board members' reports and future agenda items. Left.
I'm going to pass.
Carissa?
I want to say happy belated birthday to Mr. Brown. He's been on this board for a very long time, and we appreciate all the work that he does here. And I also want to thank him for being instrumental in meeting with the teachers. That was very important. And again, I want to reiterate, please sign up to be part of the budget subcommittee. We need people and different voices from all areas of the district so that it's not just us up here making cuts. Thank you.
Mark?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the ELA and ELD curriculum from 9A, and I guess give kudos to Assistant Superintendent Perez, when I saw that 77% ESSER funds and 2% Title III. I mean, I did get a little greedy, seeing maybe if we could get more, but that is awesome, that is not coming, that so much is not coming out of the general fund, so thank you for that hard work and effort.
Michelle?
Thanks. I feel like it's been a long time since we've seen each other, but anyway, so I was trying to figure out what we've done since the last board meeting. But so I had the privilege of going to the ceremony for Mr. Pitt to honor him and dedicate this to his theater. My husband actually had him as a teacher in high school and was in the drama program, so it was cool to see him hanging out with all of his friends, and it was a great family experience for us. I didn't ever have Mr. Pitt as a teacher. I didn't go to the ranch, but it was really cool hearing about, they had students from all the different years that he taught, and it was just powerful to hear the impact from grown adults talking about what their high school was. And so that was just really powerful, and I'm really honored that we were able to do that and that the previous board accepted and okayed that. So that was really cool. Dr. Perez and I went to the 2x2x2 committee. The city calls it the Joint Education Committee, so it's wonderful to hear what the city of Cotati, city of Roanoke Park, and Sonoma State are doing. One of the things they asked was, how can we help with funding? They did not bring out their checkbook, but they did ask, from a governmental standpoint, what can they do? And so we talked very briefly about working with the state, changing how school districts are funded, and really just, we have very little control over our revenue. And so how can we either get control back or get more revenue or do something? So we had a very honest and open conversation about that. I look forward next week. We're coming to see the play, so I'm really excited about that. And I kind of want to peek behind the curtains right now, but I don't want to spoil anything, so we'll wait. And then I really think even with, part of moving forward, which I agree the sentiments from all of our speakers today is very important. I really still would like us to look into doing some sort of town hall or education, or even something as simple as, how do the board meetings work and what can and can't we do? How does the finance work? Where's the money come in? Where does it go out? And then also just hearing a town hall to kind of have us be able to have a conversation with the community and the teachers and our staff, and just kind of hear about what's everyone's mind and start talking, because it's a little bit hard to talk like this. We're actually prevented from talking like this, but I think education and collaboration is going to be really key to us moving forward from here. So just if there's anything we can do, that'd be great.
I too went to the Jim Pitt, I forgot what it's called. Dedication. And the one thing that, hearing about the plays, and I didn't go to the ranch. I went to Santa Rosa, and when I went there, that was a school that the LGBTQ plus community went to, because they had the Art Quest program, and there's a known acceptance. So that was just my high school thing. But thinking about in the 70s and 80s, what it must have been like to have plays or discussions or groups, where right now it just seems like, why not? It seems so normal, and that was a very brave thing to do. And I don't think I really realized it till I was hearing of it, and I really thought about well, this is my perspective, but what was the perspective 30, 40 years ago? So that was a very brave thing. I was at I attended the budget committee. I really think it's super, super important that a lot of the leaders go to those meetings, because the last couple months, hearing a lot of information and and everyone's perspective, that is like the best meeting to actually work that stuff out. So there's a lot of people that I was expecting to be there just because they were so involved the last couple months. And that would have been like a really good time to really have these conversations that people are asking for. And it didn't happen like I thought it would. So we have other meetings, and I think the more people that go, especially from people who are in leadership positions, the better it's going to be, because I think Chris has mentioned it a few times. And the last couple of months, it's been mentioned that, you know, consequences, I guess, is like a negative, you know, but we gave, there was raises, and the money came from somewhere. And so now in the next couple of years, we're going to have to find out what we can do to fund everything and those wages, the wage increases. And, you know, I have a stack of letters here from teachers and people who work for the district who got pink slip that I don't even think, I don't think they're getting laid off. But there's a bunch of letters from just that, and then I can only imagine what it's going to look like when we have to cut millions of dollars. And I think the more that we work on it now, the better it's going to be later on. And it won't be an us versus them thing. The more people that collaborate, it'll be how do we solve this together instead of, you know, getting yelled at or, you know, that kind of stuff, you know, about decisions that are being made. So you gotta come to the game to play. You know, that's how I see it. And I think a lot of people show up, and I hope people show up to the next budget committee meeting. I went to my daughter's, it was like the first time the school did an event, which was out of control, because I remember right before COVID, they did a dance in the MU for the elementary school kids, and it was like a blacklight party. And I thought it was the most wildest thing for these elementary school kids. And then it was like the next day or the day after, it was like COVID, everything shut down. So to be hang out with parents and the face painting and the kids running around was like extremely emotional for me. And, you know, seeing Miss Hankerson, I don't think I've seen her smile that big. She was just like over the moon, seeing everyone having a great time. And that was like the thing that I was really missing, because that's what drawn me to this community and wanting to live here, was those social events where you get to see everyone from your neighborhood and all the families and talk to the people that you normally wouldn't see. And it was a very beautiful thing. That's it for me. 13B, Superintendent's Report.
Well, there's just a lot of wonderful things going on. Anyway, I started at the end of last month attending the President's Commission for Teacher Education. It's an opportunity for educational leaders, superintendents to meet with Sonoma State University Dean Amadillo, and we talk about the programs and how they're supporting, you know, teachers and different grants and different development. So that's really exciting. I attended the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. It was our first in-person meeting. It's so exciting to see people in person, get to know these folks that I've been meeting for over a year on a screen. The other thing that's really kind of exciting that's happening in our district is we have an incredible parenting series that we're hosting, and it's happening monthly. And I want to acknowledge Macy Juhola and Angie Scardina, who put this together. So it's really exciting. We had, at the end of March, we had a social media course helping students take ownership of their digital lives. And we offer these in English and in Spanish, so that's happening throughout every month. We had the Budget Advisory Committee. I had a really good meeting. We received an email, the board, regarding our website and the supports we offer our kids. So this was Bregan Rossetti from Technology High School. I had a wonderful meeting with 3 students in Bregan. And we talked about updating the website and making it more meaningful for kids and providing resources that are meaningful. So I've asked Bregan to help me and look at different websites. So he's going to be working on this, and I gave them some websites to look at. So we're going to work on this collaboratively, and we're going to meet again. Because what better way to improve our services and our resources than from our students, who are really amazing anyway. So that's he's all excited to do this, so I'm excited to have him work on that. I also had the opportunity to attend the Roaner Park Leadership class. We hosted it at the Labath Multipurpose Room, and I was interviewed about my leadership journey. I've presented before or attended meetings like this before, and usually have a little scripted, information, and you provide about the district. Well, I was on the hot seat for about an hour with 9 or 10 questions. It was a lot of fun. Macy was there, Miss Alba was there, Cassie was there, and it was really exciting to be part of this leadership team. It's the second year that Roaner Park has offered this leadership class, so it was really nice, and they're working on a collaborative project, and their graduation's coming up. I also attended Sonoma County, thank you, Dr. Perez, for also attending, the 5-minute film festival, which was amazing, where 12 students were featured. They submit films on a theme. It was heroes, and our very own Sir Gene Bonwait had a film which was incredible. He has his own YouTube channel. I'm watching it. It's pretty cool. Anyway, so he currently attends the VLA and is an LJ student. So it was really wonderful to see and celebrate our students and be part of that event. We also had a Dlac meeting where we talked about reclassification, and I cannot remember the other topic. I didn't write it down. Do you remember?
The parent survey.
The parent survey. We're
Parents
doing a
of
needs
English Learners
assessment,
survey.
which is something that's required and hasn't been done in a while. So it was really nice to see the parents chime in and leaders, our school leaders, say this is what we need to include in needs assessment. So we're going to get some really good information from the parents of our EL students. Thank you for that memory jog. Anyway,
We also talked about more recognition when they test out.
Oh, yes, definitely. We really want to celebrate our English learners. We know that it is a difficult process to reclassify, so we want to be able to celebrate those at our schools and also maybe bring those students to a board meeting and see how we can celebrate them here. And also we had an additional parenting class, which I think this is something that's wonderful. It's parenting and coping with stress. And this class was on the 14th of April, and it was in Spanish. So we're doing some really amazing things. And I have to tell you, I'm beside myself that we're going to get a new curriculum. When I got here, I thought, oh, we're using what curriculum? So it's really exciting to have done this pilot. I want to thank all the teachers who are involved, Katie Larkin, Dr. Perez, because this is something that was very near and dear to my heart and very much a priority. So it's exciting to be moving forward. And by the way, those programs are really awesome. I would have selected those, so I'm really glad that the teachers selected those. Thank you. That's my report.
13B1, Fred Williams complaints. No, October through December 2021 received no complaints. And we're going to 13C, adjournment.